Oh, yeah. Oh. Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's amazing to see
Good.
you. I can see the sun shining on you in Cyprus, so that's really nice.
Yes, yes. It's a place where the sun seems to just reside. It doesn't seem to move. 380 odd times of the year, we got sunshine here, which is why I'm so
Wow.
appreciative. I'm so grateful, very
Yeah,
grateful.
I'm here in England, cold and jealous. So,
Good. Well, well, I've
but
told you
enjoy.
already, you're not a tree. You're going to get moving, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think we need the sunshine. I think we do. But today
Yes.
we are talking a very interesting topic, and it's just really that one-liner that what on earth is going on in our reality.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you gave me that
Mm,
topic, and explain a little bit about what you meant by that.
yeah. Well, it's um, there's been a shift, a huge shift of consciousness now,
Mm.
and the shift is quite monumental on many levels. And it's a shift of consciousness to waken up a lot of human beings that what we've been taught has not been the truth from the day we were born,
Yeah.
and the revelation is out there now that there is always been a different reality, and this is what we're waking up to now in this current matrix.
Mm. So I think since lockdown, for a lot of people, there's been an
Mm,
increase in that kind of questioning
yes,
authority, questioning
yes,
health, questioning whether people are for us, our politicians, our medics. And so there has been a lot
yes,
of questioning going on. So is
yes.
this shift because society has changed, or are you seeing this is kind of a global, universal, Aquarius, time of Aquarius kind of shift? What do you mean?
Yeah, I think you got it in a nutshell there. No, very nicely. It is the age of the Aquarius now, shifting from Pisces to Aquarius, the age of an awakening. Some teachers call it the golden era, and it's the Earth is changing, the frequencies are changing, and what has been hidden is now being revealed. To all humans who've got eyes to see and ears to hear, and we do have certain forces that have been holding this third dimension of reality together for quite a while, and our belief systems of how we think life is for such a long time that it's been almost um, it's it's almost sort of endemic. It's sort of it's infestation in our mind that this third dimension is real and how life is real. But now the gloves are off. The revelation is there. It's since, yeah, you could since the epidemic, I call it pandemic, but since that, everything's shifted. Everything shifted. And all these nefarious acts that are going on all over the place as awakened people. There is something else going on here.
So, Mike, tell me a little bit about your background and a little bit about what you do, and then about how did you become awakened in this way? So, start.
Yes, nice,
Tell me a
nice,
little bit about you.
nice question. I've been in the health industry now for nearly 40 years now, and it's being in the health industry for that long, I get to see a lot of things in 4 decades. And I had at one stage, my dad died when I was 12 years old with diabetes. And my mother, I had to nurse for nearly 25 years with chronic rheumatoid arthritis. And that's how I got into health through the back door. And also at the same time, I was training as just working in the gym as a personal trainer, advanced personal trainer, master trainer, and worked my way up to doing psychology and stress management, doing different therapy, and eventually working as a mentor. And as a mentor now, I've get people to dig for the truth. And we can call this the inconvenient truth and pleasant facts. And, just there's more to reality than we perceive. Example, let's give an example. So if someone's still questioning this conversation of what we're saying, I would say to this individual, I said, well, how much reality can you see with your eyes? How much of reality can you see with your naked eyes? And they will give me a number. And I'm going to ask you the same question, Sophia. How much of reality do you think we see with our eyes?
I think our eyes can deceive us. So we've got to be very careful on that ground. I think
Absolutely.
Our distance or how close we can see things, there's a limitation there, especially as people are getting older. Sometimes that might be a problem there.
Yes.
There's we deceive ourselves as
Of
well.
course.
So we sometimes see what we want to see. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that the number, if you think about all those different elements, the number comes lower and lower. I think we live in our own kind of universe, our own community.
Of course.
And so
yes.
we are governed by what we see on things like social media. And so that also has another kind of limitation on what we see, because we're seeing through somebody else's eyes, somebody else's narrative.
Yes.
And so that
absolutely
limits what we see as well. I think the Earth is a massive place, and it's impossible for us to see and know everything. So we're limited by a knowledge base as well. So that number's gone lower and lower.
Yeah. So out of 100%, what would you say then?
I'd say maybe
just.
I say maybe 40%, somewhere around there, really.
Okay.
If you're taking all those things as perspectives, and that kind of brings that number down. So maybe I think we can be easily fooled. So that's why the number is low.
Okay. So you said about 40, and that's not bad. But listen to this, Sophia. This is how deep the game is. With the naked eye, and there's all sorts of different spectrum, 0.5%, 0.5% of reality is what we can see with the naked eye. So what we're saying is 99.9.5, you could say, of reality is beyond the naked eye. So that means there's a huge knowledge base out there. And we have people in certain places, higher places, who know this. And they know that we do not know the other side of reality. And so we're in that, what they call the 3-dimensional loop, and literally entrapped in the matrix. So we think we've got to work for, till we're 60 odd, wait for pension. That's it. End of life. 2.2 holiday. Absolutely.
What life is.
Absolutely. And while these guys are playing on a different playing field, and subsequently they are working with higher energy, vibration, frequencies, and we're just going about everyday, like an everyday thing. And matter of fact, groundhog days every day. So what I say to my clients is this, and here's something for your viewers, is if you can understand just a simple concept, and that will help them immensely, is the 1% rule. And the 1% rule is learn something new about yourself every day, as well as how the universe works. And then you will realize how much has been left off the table. I mean, this could be easily a title, What They Didn't Tell You at School. What they didn't tell you at school. And then you got a whole list of things and said, well, that's right, because I didn't learn about finance, I didn't learn about energy, didn't learn about frequency, didn't know about relationship. It's like a whole body of knowledge. And this is why, and the reason why we're doing this, because there's such an escalation of people feeling suicidal, escalation of people in depression, anxiety, and worry, and fear, and all of this is because they're trapped within that 3-dimension without the deeper understanding of how life works.
Do you think part of that is also because we are frequency, and we're picking up those vibes, and then we have been sold this lie? I mean, the whole aspect of our education was to make workers, not to make thinkers.
Absolutely.
So it was definitely by design that we haven't got the information that we need for life and survival. But I think our instincts are telling us something's not quite right. We're picking up that vibe, we're picking up that instinct. And is that
Absolutely.
people feeling something's not quite right with me, and then that searching for that awakening? Do you know what I mean? And maybe
Yes.
that searching, thinking, I want to be out of this place. And a common thing that I hear people saying is that I want to leave here. Do you know what I mean? And not
Yes. Yes.
necessarily
No.
suicidal
No.
per se, but they don't feel
Yeah.
something's not feeling right. You know?
Yes, but you know when your hands are top. Watch this. I think let me just really. I love when we have our conversations. We can sit on the sofa with a big fire, just chat. Really enjoy our conversation. But let me just work with what you've just said. Think about, if we think about it, if we don't know more about reality, but other than what we learned our peer, family, our peers, in school and education, and we hit that ceiling of knowledge. So that's the ceiling of knowledge. You feel like, a lot of people feel like they're sitting on their hands, and
Yes.
they feel like they're imploded. They're imploded because no one's told them, hold up a minute, there are universal principles here, and that you're more than what you see.
Yes.
Now, when you start talking like that, then you say,
Yes.
oh, the mind bubbles and say, oh, you mean I'm more than what I see? And I'm more than my problems and more challenges, and there's spiritual concepts here that I can get out of jail here? I said, yes. And I said, I give them a film to go and watch. I said, right, let's give you a film, because I give people films, documentaries, and as a teachers, just to validate what I'm telling is true. So here's what a person could do now, just to really open their mind and say, go and watch the film um, Lucy 2014.
Oh yes, I
Lucy
remember.
2004, because what they do is these so-called entities and humans up there are, are running the world, or think they are, um, is they put a lot of the truth in the film. And you will hear Lucy, what she says in the film. She said, a human being uses less than 10% of his brain. Now, come on, Mikey, let's work this now. Sophia, if you're using less than 10% of your brain, and you've gone through the educational system, yeah, and then you don't know about other concepts of life, you're going to get stuck. Of course, you're going to get stuck, and that's what causes implosion and
Yeah.
frustrated,
But isn't
and
that isn't that also by design? Because when they look at intelligence, the element of intelligence is about being creative. And if you get a young child, the young child is very creative, very adventurous, looking out and
yes,
wanting to explore. That's part of
mm,
the childlike nature. And the part
mm,
of education is to control that. So they said that you could have the children are natural geniuses, but by the
of
time they
course,
finish education, then no, you've only got less than 5% of geniuses, because they've been controlled to put their hand up to go to the bathroom, controlled to everybody only speaking what
absolutely,
you're told to. You've been told to
absolutely,
be that kind of factory soldier in essence, and to
yes,
conform. So
yes,
I think it's definitely the Rockefellers did it by design.
yeah, yeah. It's there is. Um, it is all by design, and it's I'm very grateful that I'm touching on the 6-0, and I've seen how this has developed over the years, um, and it is what we call, and it's very easy to do the research on this, it's called left brain dominance. We've got two sides of the brain here. All right, we've got the left hemisphere, we've got the right hemisphere. They're working coherence of each other, but each side is doing different activities for us. But a lot of people in the West are very driven on the left side of the brain. So subsequently, this is logic, this is order, this is structure, this is system, this is linear. This is how it's always been. And it brings that rigidity of thinking. So you don't have the flexibility or scope to think outside the box.
Yeah.
But the right brain, the feminine side, so the left brain is masculine and the right brain is feminine. And we don't nurture the feminine side, the creativity, the imagination, the intuitive. Example, people, when I'm looking for a place, let's say I'm traveling to somewhere in Cyprus, a friend would say to me, oh Mike, I'll give you a Google map it, Mikey. And I
Mm.
would say, no, you don't need to Google map that, because
Mm.
once you start using that type of system, you lose the system inside of you, because inside of you got an internal sat nav that you're not using. Because how do you think the animals survive in the wild? Do you think they say, "Oh, give me Google, let me see where I need to go next"? They're working on instinct. We are animals. We can use instincts, and that's, in the end, that's what will save our lives, is knowing that we
Definitely.
can, use our intuitiveness.
What that reminds me of, because I'm old to remember the time before calculators, and
Yeah,
people used to do
absolutely.
that mental arithmetic in their head, and it
Yes,
was fine.
yes.
You did it. That was a skill to learn, to practice. It's all very good. And then I remember when it was the whole big thing, the big buzz to have the calculator, so you can do letters upside down and make rude words and all
Yeah.
kind of business. But what that did was it de-skilled people, and so it got to
Bravo.
the point, and I put my hands up. I'm the same. Whereas even if you did do a math puzzle in your head, you would still pick up the calculator to double check. Do you know what I mean? So it puts
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
doubt. And the
Yes.
same way you're saying about the sat nav, he puts in that doubt to, so before you would learn landmarks, you would look around, you would actually
Absolutely.
you would remember
Absolutely.
it. But now you're like,
Yes.
well, I don't need to remember it because the sat nav will take me, and you
Abs-
go in there 100 times and you still don't know the way because you're just following the sat nav. And I suppose
Absolutely.
with our phones,
Yeah.
it's happening as well, where we've become like
Absolutely.
androids, that if we put our phone down, or we just so reliant on Google or on the phone to get that information, we don't need to retain it because we've got this Android. We become androids because we're attached to our phones now. Do you know? And so if people, if they've go through stress if the battery's on like 5%, or they go through stress if they've forgotten their phone, they can't cope, they need to
Yes.
go back and get their phone. It's that definite
Yes.
addiction to that technology and the moving away from our instincts and our natural being.
Yes. Absolutely. It's we're talking about intelligence here, I'm going to say it here so you can hear what I'm saying now. So we're talking off-world intelligence. It's all there for everyone to see that. If anyone wants to do the research, in 1994, President Eisenhower met other entities outside of this dimension, and they've made treaties with them, and it's there for everyone to read. This is not Cartwalla. This is truth. There have been deals being made, and subsequently these deals have been made where high technology is now seeping out everywhere, and not many people are asking where it's all coming from. But if you go back to 1954, when President Eisenhower made agreements with other off-world to introduce this technology, and technology, yes, a lot of pluses, but at the same time, there are a lot of minuses, because we are losing our capabilities as humans. And my goal is for us to find our power. We just got to find our personal power, because we are very technical and we have many powers that we're not using. And subsequently, like I said, if we live in that 3 dimension and we're losing that left brain and we're not doing the 1% rule, we're just going to implode. And that's why the frustration, the anxiety, the medication, the rest of it carries on more and more.
I hear
So it's
that.
more of the same.
So what can we do to deprogram? You said it's
Nice.
something that's essential that we do. So what kind of things can we do? What can you recommend?
Good, good. Many things, many things. I mean, one of the things I get people to do is study them. Don't be afraid of the unpleasant facts and the ugly truth of what is going on in reality. It is true that we have groups around the world, or billionaires and philanthropists and people, who've got so much money, who've been sitting behind the scene and governing reality. There's a nice program, a documentary people can watch. It's called Thrive. What on earth is going on? A very beautiful, I think it's 2011. It's a beautiful documentary illustrating what is happening on the planet. So watch the documentary Thrive, telling people what is going on, but because it's many things and lots of moving parts. So what a person can do now is start to learn to sit quietly with themselves. That's the first thing. Sit and learn to sit on their own, in their own essence, start working on themselves. That's the first thing. Start addressing false belief. Look at the false belief that we're following. Look at the indoctrination that we're following, and start to recalibrate those and upgrade them. So start learning about self on a different aspect of self. So when you start learning about the different aspect of self, i.e., you've got a higher self, you've got a lower self, i.e., that we've got different energy systems inside us, i.e., that we've got sacred powers. This knowledge of self can go on till eternity, to the day you leave the world. That's just studying yourself. All right. I get people to say, well, it's dismissive. Really, I don't believe this. Don't worry. Let's bring the evidence to the table. Go online and Google Doctor Strange, #1. Watch it not one time, watch it 3, 6, 9 times. It's got everything there and everything I'm telling you. When he's I won't spoil it, but just a little bit. When he's got in there with all his powers, of what he's learned on the 3 dimension, and then he was exasperated. He said, I don't know anything else. No one else can help me. He went to someone who knew a little bit of what I'm sharing here, a bit of the mystics. All right. So get to know that you are more than what you see, and then start realigning yourself for your greatness. All right, that's one thing. And then you need to know there are cosmic principles that are governing the world, which are higher. Look at this. This is beautiful to know. Higher than man-made laws. Yeah. It's the example, law of attraction. Yeah. The law of oneness. You know, the law of gender. There's all these different sacred law that transcends a human being. When you start living your life knowing this knowledge, you are going to be a superpower. Another way I describe it, it's a lovely way to describe it in my book, is if you're not aware of this, you're going to be battered around with life challenges, like they're out there, and you're going to be like the ship in the ocean with no place you're going, and you'll be bashed all over the place. You know, you're disorientated and just disillusioned with everything if you're not doing what we call the great work. Or you can be that person who's gradually working on themselves every day, deprogramming, keeping journals, studying new knowledge, upgrading yourself, knowing yourself that you're more than what you see, and doing the sacred work. And then you become what we call a nuclear submarine, diving deeper and more powerful to your community. Whoa, that's beautiful, that. Come on. It's so sweet.
I suppose it's a big full circle in that in Kemet, in the
yes,
in Kemet, it said know thyself, and I think it's about that inner spirituality, that universal being, that that God aura, that Christ likeness, isn't it? It's learning about you, and I think that society continually has distractions, whether it's going to be your phone, TV, music, sex, drugs, all these different distractions, and even work is another distraction where you're so busy living life trying to focus on how you're going to pay these bills, that you're not able to focus and sit with yourselves. So it's definitely something that we need to readdress, really, and have that importance.
Absolutely, so true. When we start to realize the power of awareness, when we understand the power of our brain, when we start understanding the power of mastering our emotions, and then we start understanding universal principles, all the nefarious acts out there, they start fall to the way. It's a bit like Matrix 1 when Neo stops running. Come on. When Neo, he just stopped and said, "Hold up a minute." So hold up a minute, And he just turned around and said, "I'm going to stop running." And that's like that now, right now, when a person realizes this game is based, watch this. This is beautiful for all the viewers to know. If you can get this in your psyche, that everything's based on energy, vibration, and frequency. And go online and Google, everything's energy. Come on, game on, baby, come on. Go online and Google and then come back to me. Everything's energy. Now reprogram, recalibrate. Now, Happy New Year, baby. Happy Christmas. Now your life is taking on a new meaning if you can understand the depth of that knowledge, the depth of it. Everything is energy. And those who run the planet, they know this.
Yes.
They have their what they call sorcerers and their mystical people working quite behind the scene to keep this negative narrative alive. But when someone finds a power, it's a hold on, if everything is energy, then that means, if I'm struggling with money, whoops, come on. I'm struggling with my life, whoops, yes. Everything can be sorted out by knowing that one knowledge. No one can hurt you, because that is just a game changer. It's like you just say, whoa, I won the lottery.
And I
That's
suppose,
how powerful that is.
energy can't be destroyed, it just evolves, isn't it? So I suppose it's about us evolving. And I definitely feel that more recently, there has been a massive big shift of that energy of fear and being using fear to manipulate society, manipulate people. There's always that drive. And I know that there's that instinct in that, I know they say, well, because of our instinct of survival, we kind of cleave to negative energy because we want to know what's wrong. And people tend to go for that gossip and that negative energy very, very quickly. Whereas if everything's all happy, people, if you had a newspaper and it just had happy news on it, people might not buy it. They want to buy the disaster news because they want to protect themselves. And there's some kind of energy that comes off. Maybe it's those same energy, why people like horror movies, I'm not quite sure. But it's like that energy of fear seems to be manifesting a lot more recently. Where people are, their behaviors isn't because they're doing things, they're conforming because they're frightened of what would happen if they don't conform.
Yes. I mean, if we're playing a game of cards, game of chess, and you want to really get to know these games, you've got to know yourself. And that's the secret here, to know yourself, understand the power, again, of awareness, understand the power of meditation, understand the power of mindfulness, understand that you can recalibrate yourself. There was a guy I was listening to on TikTok the other day, a very astute guy. He got 12 years in prison. 12 years in prison for something he didn't do.
Yes.
And he was out in 2 years because of the knowledge I'm sharing now. How beautiful is that? He was out in 2 years, less than 2 years. He found that is wrong, but he was doing some principles behind the scenes. So let's just say we still have an ace up our hand. We're not at we're just there's something good we've got something, a few aces up our sleeve if we decide to use them. But if we don't, then we're going to sort of do more of the same every year. But basically, in a nutshell, we're talking about personal human evolution. This is why I said, well, I'm not sure about that. Well, let me help you out here. Why do you have star seeds? Why do you have indigo children? Why do you have crystal children? Why do you have these beings, these youngsters with superpowers? Explain that one to me then. Youngsters who can read your mind, youngsters who can read in the past. These are mystical skills that was never taught in the third dimension, you see. So, you get a youngster talking. I've heard youngsters who understand this level of knowledge of the higher consciousness, talking to someone in the 3D, and the person 3D was suffering with rigidity. It just couldn't expand it. It's like, oh, really? But yet, when you go and watch it, remember they put the films out there for you. If you go and watch a film, eyes wide shut, you see these guys. They are doing their mystical work. So if someone said to me, Mikey, I'm really just lost with all of this. I said, look, come on, get a pen and paper out. Start writing about yourself. Yeah, start writing about what's going on in your mind. Get to be your own therapist now. Start recalibrating your mind. Start thinking different. How can I think different? Right, let's get you reading more positive books. Let's get you listen to more positive teachers. Get you to learn about yourself and all your different powers. Learn about the sacred higher forces that are around us, and also the sacred principles that run this game. And now, game on. You're not going to be feeling submissive to all the negative acts that are going out there. The economy's imploding and food coming off the shelf and all the rest of it. Now you take back your power, and when you take back your power, game on.
Wonderful, wonderful. So thank you very much for that. I think you've given some good tools there for people to start. And I think one of the strongest things that you kind of said is that not to give up hope and to be hopeful and to be
Yes.
reminded of your inner strength and your inner being. I love
Yes.
that, people can turn away and say, okay, then after this talk, let me sit down and have that journal. There is some power about writing
Yes.
things down, and there's some power
Yes.
about learning about yourself. So that's amazing that you've said that. And I also love the fact about our surroundings and surrounding ourselves with positivity. I love that
Yes.
aspect of,
Yes.
turn the TV off, pick up a positive book, be around positive people, listen to positive music.
Yes.
All those kind of
Yes.
influences are wonderful.
Yes.
I think, what you really said is study self, because you're more powerful than what you think you are, and to
Absolutely.
question what your old beliefs, to question those old beliefs. And if it doesn't feel right, then maybe there's a reason for that. So it's amazing.
Let me give another gift. Let me give you another gift. And Sophie, I want you to try this. This is beautiful. This is a gift, all right. I've got many mentorship tools I give my clients. Let me give a gift as well. This is a nice gift. I want to show. This is how I show my clients and friends how powerful they are. I said, right, okay, I'm going to show you how powerful you are. Okay, put your problem on the table. What's the problem? Oh, I haven't got enough money. Let's put the money thing on the table. All right. What's your problem? I haven't got enough money coming in. Would you say that's a problem for a lot of people? Yes, it is. Okay, now you're going to solve that in just sitting in your space. All right. So remember, we're using only 10% of the brain. Now you're going to use more. It's called creative imagination. You might want to Google that. So you're going to use creative imagination, and you're going to want to sit down and ask yourself a question. You ask yourself a question, right? How am I going to solve my money problem? And then wait to see what creative ideas come to you. We're not taught this. Come on, Mikey. We're not even taught this. No, no, nobody teaches this. Nobody teaches how powerful we are. So that means that you could sit down and say, okay, I'm going to write down 9 ideas to solve my money problem, or 15 ideas. And when I heard this from my other teacher, and I went, that's fantastic. And I did it myself, and I went, whoa, my life took on a new meaning. It took on a new meaning. So I say that to my friends. This is how powerful you are.
Yeah.
Try and live within your inner universe as opposed to outer universe. When you live from the outside in, you lose all the time. When you work from the inside out, game on. Become the Neo of your life.
Wow.
How powerful is that?
Very, very, very powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah.
And I
Then
think
everything.
it's the aspects as well of we've been trained to rely on the outside world to feed us, to do all kinds of things, to govern us and to lead us, when really and truly there's that inner strength and that inner power, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
This is what our community needs. It's like enough of the noise and getting. That's another talk. We have to talk about the power of silence. Oh, put that down, Sophie. That's a talk we have to talk about, the power of silence.
We'll have to have that as another topic. We'll have to do that. But I definitely agree with that. I'm going to jot that down, actually, the power of silence, because it is very powerful. And I think there is so many different distractions, and there's a purpose for those distractions. It stops people from moving forward and growing. So definitely that. Definitely.
Good.
Well,
excellent.
Thank you very much.
Enjoyable.
It's been absolutely amazing. I've really enjoyed it. I know that you'll be coming back soon. But if someone wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way of getting a hold of your mental services and your services?
Oh, thank you so much, Sophie. I really appreciate this. One hand washes another, sweetheart. Thank you. So if anybody like to come on board, or just like to look into what I do, it's the Wellness Academy Global, Michael Reid. Yeah. And it can come through you. What I do is I give people 6 questions to answer. These 6 questions ask a lot of deep searching questions, asking about themselves and their way with their life and how they're handling life. And from that, we can build a foundation for them. And we have lots of success. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Talk soon.
Okay, bye.
No, bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.